Good afternoon, everyone. We will be starting the session now. Today we are going to talk about IELTS writing. We did yesterday IELTS writing. We went through a number of things, and the most important thing was we studied some IELTS vocab, which was quite interesting, and it's very helpful when you study IELTS test. You need to have like a variety of words, right? And as you see on the screen, these words were like used in different perspective on different categories, like words used as nouns, used as verbs, phrases, adjectives, and adverbs. And these are the words which we will be using today in our writing. For example, if you see the arrow here, if like the graph shows that it's on the rising side, you can say a rise, an increase, a surge, a growth. Or it's like coming down, you can say there is a fall, like here, there is a fall, a drop, a decline, a dip, a peak. If it is going and then coming down, when it reaches to certain level, you say this is the peak. Then there's a fluctuation, or like it's not stable. It's opposite to the next one, which is like a period of stability. And then there is a plateau, and like it goes slightly higher and then it stays as a stable thing. And if you want to use them as verbs, you can use as a verb. If you want to use as phrases, you can also use as adjectives and adverbs, like sharp, sharply, or dramatically, or significantly. These are the vocab words which we will be using in our today's session. We also had this kind of example yesterday where we wrote these words and then we made them in different sentences. Okay, today what we are going to do, we are going to look at these examples and we are going to make sentences, and we're going to write like 2 or 3 sentences paragraph. All right, Mariam, can you help me to read this question number 8?
Okay, I will read it.
Yeah.
Question number 8. Look at A to C, which present different kinds of information about a large multinational company. Write these short paragraphs about the information. For each graph or chart, first write a sentence which describes what it shows. Then write another sentence which describes the overall trend you can see. Finally, write a sentence which includes some specific data.
Okay, so what the exercise says here, it says look at A to C, which present different kinds of information about a large multinational company. Write 3 short paragraphs about the information. Each graph, chart, first write sentence which describes what it shows. I mean, the first sentence is, we will write it, what it shows. That is number 1. And number 2, then write another sentence which describes the overall trend. So overall trend is sentence number 2. This is number 2. Okay. Number 3, finally write a sentence which includes some specific data or information. So 3 sentences. The first sentence, what is this graph about? Number 1. Number 2, the overall trend, mean like it is increasing or decreasing, or there is a rise or decline, or one sentence. The last one is something specific, mean from one time to another time, just like 3 sentences. We will be writing just 3 sentences. The first one, you describe what it shows. Okay. Secondly, you give like overall trend. And third, some specific detail about this data. So these are like three examples, 3 sentences about this chart. Okay. And the topic is percentage of new staff hired. In like if you say the vertical this axis says, this one, that what is the percentage of the staff hired, okay, like from starting from 1997, it was like 15%, see it, 15%, but then it like till 2000 here, it was like a small decrease, but since that, then from 2001 to present, 2000, you can say from 2000 to 2003, it fell dramatically, and then from 2003 to this period at present, it is like it's staying at the same 5%. Here it is 5%, right? So first thing, you will make a sentence and you will explain what does this graph, what does it show, what does it tell, okay? Second sentence is, what is the overall trend which is given in this whole thing? That is number 2. Number 3, you write a sentence, some specific information from certain time period to certain time period. It's increasing, decreasing, falling, something like that. Okay, so we can go back and we can write these sentences now. Okay, and we'll see here. Okay, we will be writing about it now. I will show you another page where we can write. Just a minute. Okay, there is some kind of page adjustment issue here. Okay. Yes, finally I got it. I will take you to the same page here where we can explain, we can write the information. Yes, okay. So we are here. This, again, as I said, we will be writing 3 sentences. One is, what is this whole graph about? Second sentence, what is an overall trend which is explained in this graph? And the third thing is something specific about it. Okay, so I want you to just think about it and write 3 sentences. Okay, you can write it in the chat box, or you can just share it with me, and I will be writing it on the screen so you all can see. All right. So if you are done, you can share your answer with me. And if you need like a couple of minutes, you can. So you will be writing 3 sentences about it. And there can be different answers possible. Okay. First sentence is, okay, in first sentence, you will say, what is this graph about? Okay, it provides information about what? Okay, for example, what kind of information? Yes.
This paragraph shows about the percentage of the new staff hired.
Just percentage or some changing percentage trends?
Oh yeah, changing percentage.
Yeah. Okay. So we can say graph A provides graph A provides information on the changing percentage of, or what? Percentage of new staff hired, in a company, over a period of 10 years. So this is my introduction. In my first sentence, I must explain what is this graph about. Okay, I must explain what does it say. So this graph A provides information on the changing percentage or changing trends of new staff hired in a company over a period of 10 years. So this is like my basic sentence. I'm telling you what is this graph about. Okay, second sentence, we need 3 sentences, those who just joined now. In this, we need just 3 sentences. One sentence, which we have already written, you explain what is this graph about. So this graph is about information of the changing percentage of the new staff hired in a company over a period of 10 years, or you can say from 1997 to present, or 2007. Okay. Now, this is my first sentence. Second sentence, I must tell an overall, like an overall picture of this graph. What does this graph say as a whole? I mean, what does it explain? What kind of trends it says? Okay. So, for example, a company needs 16% of staff in 1997. And now only 3. So, Anis, my question is, the trend has risen, or it has fallen dramatically, or like gradually, or you remember the words which we used yesterday? You can use those words to explain. What does the graph explains? We took one sentence, what is the graph about? Now, what is the overall idea about the graph? According to the figures, so we can say here, our second sentence, fallen gradually, okay? According to the figure, okay, recruitment fell like significantly or dramatically, fell significantly during this period, this period. Again, we stop here for the stop. Okay, between 1997 and 2000, between if you look at the 1997, between 1997 to 2000, as I explained earlier, okay, 2000, there was only a slight drop. There was only a slight drop, okay, from 5 to 11%, from 5 to 11%, okay, and 2000 it became constant with 3%. Yeah, it can. We will write that. It needs just 3 sentences now. So I am happy that you understand what is this graph about. First sentence is what is the graph about. One sentence is about what does it overall explains. Okay, only a slight drop from 5 to 11%. But after that, the figures fell dramatically, okay, to a low of 5%, okay. So you can say that this is like an overall trend which is explained there, and we need one last sentence. Some kind of I think 3 sentences already there. Yes, Zahra, if you want to say something, you can unmute and speak. Okay, so again, what was the requirement? The requirement was that we should write 3 sentences. The first, in every graph, every bar graph, line graph, pie chart, whatever you have, the first sentence is you explain what is this bar graph or bar chart about. That is your first sentence. It says write 3 sentences. Second sentence, you give an overall idea what is being discussed in the bar graph. We have done that. First is graph A provides information on the changing percentage of new staff hired in a company over a period of 10 years. This is like I'm telling you what is this graph about. Second is like overall discussion, what is discussed. According to the figure, recruitment fell significantly during this period, during this period of time. Now this is something specific about one sentence. It says write something specific. Between 1997 to 2000, okay, as I explained earlier, as I said here, between 2000 from here to here, it remained the same. There was no change. So what we discussed here, between 1997 to 2000, there was slight drop from 5 to 11%. But after that, the figures fell dramatically to a low of 5%. Okay, if you look at the graph one more time, from here, there was a small decline from here to here. But then there was a dramatic or like sudden fall. And again, it stopped at 5%, where it stopped here at 5%. And then it continued till present. Okay, so we have written like 3 sentences here about this graph. Okay, again, now can I ask Mariam, can you read all our 3 sentences which we have written?
Okay, I will.
Okay.
Graph A provides information on the changing percentage of new staff hired in a company over a period of 10 years. Okay. According to the figure, recruitment fell significantly during this period. Between 1997 to 2000, there was only a slight drop of 5 to 10%, but after that, the figures fell dramatically to a low of 5%.
Yes. So it's a kind of, you're also comparing, and you used like dramatically, it's like a word which we studied yesterday. Then there is a word significantly, which I studied, is again there. And this is like a kind of example. This is how you should be explaining your graph. You should be using certain comparatives, certain words which like sound good. And most importantly, first sentence is like you explain what is the graph about. And then you continue writing all the information. And then finally, you write like your concluding remarks, something about the graph as a whole, what kind of trend you have discussed, or what kind of trend it shows at the end, you know. So this is how you will continue explaining. Now we will look at the second example. If you have any question regarding this graph, I'm sure you all understood what is this graph. The most important thing is first, like 1 or 2 minutes, you look at the graph very carefully and see what is mentioned horizontally, like 1997 to 2006 present. What does it mean? These are like the years. This is a period of 10 years where they have explained the percentage of new staff hired. And on the vertical axis, it's the percentage, mean from 0% to 16%. In 1997, the staff hired percentage was about 15%. And in 2000, it dropped to 12%. And from that, from 2002 to 2000, from 2000 to 2003, it fell dramatically. There was a sudden fall, and it reached to only 5%. And from 2003 to present, it is staying at 5%. So as a whole, the staff hiring has dropped significantly from 15% to just 5% at present, right? So this whole figure shows about percentage of new staff hired from 0 to 16%, and it explains the period of 10 years starting from 1997 to present. So if you understand what is this whole graph is about, you need to write just the information. And again, the examiner is interested in number of things which I have already discussed with you. What is something he is interested? What is your content? Are you explaining the graph in the right way, or you are telling about something else which you memorized or you prepared yesterday at home? So your content, you should be talking about this graph, not about something else. Second thing, you organize your information in a way which looks logical. For example, the first, you give an introduction. Yeah, walaikum assalam.
ये आप क्या बता रहे हैं?
Whom I am speaking to?
Yeah.
Please mute yourself. And you can ask me questions at the end, please. Not like in the middle of the lesson. Okay, please let me explain. Then you can ask me questions later. Okay. The last thing is you explain like a conclusion, or like, so another thing that the examiner is interested in your vocabulary, right? What kind of words you use. So try to use comparatives, try to use like the words, good words, and don't repeat the same words again and again. Yesterday we studied all these words, that instead of saying one word again and again, you can use multiple words, right? Okay. The next thing is you should write good grammar. All your answers should be written with right kind of grammar, not like grammar mistakes. If you make grammar mistakes, you will lose marks for that. Okay. So keep in mind these things. We have written 3 sentences about this graph. Now we will move on. We'll move on to our next graph, and we will be discussing that graph. Okay. We have certain new participants with us today, and I welcome you, but I really want you to please stay muted. If you have a question, ask me first. I will give you permission, and then you can ask me questions if it is related to the something which we are doing now. If you think that you can ask the same question at the end of the session, that's better. We will have like 10 minutes time where we can answer I can answer all your questions, right? So please follow the rules of our group, stay muted, because if like people continue speaking during the lesson, it will be very difficult for me to explain. All right. Now we move on to the second graph here. As you see, I copied it from the book which we are doing. It's the same here. So don't be confused that it's something different. Look at this graph here. And first of all, tell me, what is this graph about? Okay. What do you understand from the horizontal axis? And what does it say from vertical axis? It says office hours average per week and number of hours from 0 to 60. And 2000, it was 40 hours. 2001, slightly increased. 2002, again, there is a slight increase. 2003, it also increased to some extent. And it continued, which reached to 2007, which is the highest number of hours, that is 50. So again, I want you to write 3 sentences. First sentence, what is this graph about? Okay. Second sentence is write an overall a sentence which summarizes this whole graph, and then one sentence which gives like specific information about this graph. Okay, so just 3 sentences. You can write 3 sentences in the chat box, and if someone wants to speak loudly about this graph, you can send me a request. I will unmute you, and you can share your answer with me. Okay, I'll give you like 2 minutes time and write it down, 3 sentences. You can write in the chat box. It's working. Okay, Anis, thank you. Anis is the first one who has given me the answer. It a complete graph for the staff of a university, how much hours they can work throughout the year. Mariam says, the graph provides us the information on the changing percentage of our office hours. Very good, Mariam. The graph provides us information on the changing percentage. No, there is no changing, there is no percentage. Changing trends in the number of hours, we can say. Changing trend was in percentages, it was in the previous, but yes, your sentence is right. You did well. Can I have 1 or 2 more answers, and then we will move on? So chart B, yeah, chart B. Chart B shows the average number of working hours. Zara says the graph presents the change in working hours of office. That's right. That's right. Chart Aruna says it's about working hours per year by working staff. Thank you. Per year, because it's 2000, 2001, 2002, 3, 4, 5, 6 till present, right? Okay. Chart B, let me write some of your information in my own words. Chart B shows the average number of working hours, shows the, sorry, let me write it in small. Chart B shows the average, chart B shows the average number of working hours. Now you should be working on the second sentence, which gives us detail as a whole, like summarizes what does it explain, okay, from what year to what year, and what is explained in that, and one sentence, some specific information, and I will just write it down here for you. Okay, chart B shows the average number of working hours per week at the company between 2000 to present. Okay, that's number one. That like an introduction to our, or Anis says the staff have to work up to 40 hours in the year 2000, and gradually the number of hours increased each year. Excellent. Now, yes, number of hours increased. Now give me some specific information in one sentence. We are done with 2 sentences now. We need one more sentence. These figures show steady increase in 2000, employees were generally doing 40 hours per week, but now increase. Okay, we can say in 2000, the average was about 40 hours, which reached to 50 hours, in 2007 or at present. Okay, so this is how we complete these 3 sentences. Okay, 50 hours. Okay, that's right. Was about 40 hours, which reached to 50 hours. Thank you. 50 hours in 2007, reached to 50 hours. At present, you can say present. It's like that. So if we have like, if we write a few more sentences, we will have like our complete answer. But now our main focus is how to understand the graph, how to understand these lines and these horizontal lines and vertical lines, how to understand what is this picture. Generally we say it's a picture. So what does this picture mean? What does this graph mean? What does this bar graph, line chart, pie chart, diagram, whatever it is, what does it mean? And then we explain, and then at the end we have like a concluding thing, or like we write the information which like concludes. Okay, going back to the book here, there is another chart here. I don't want you to write this one. We have already done practice for 2 years, but I want someone from you read it for like 2 minutes, and then ask me, and I will unmute, and I want you to explain what does it say. What is this again? First sentence, what is this line graph about? Okay. Second thing, what is this vertical and horizontal axis? Explain, and then give me some specific details. Is it like rising, falling, declining, or like dramatic change, or like whatever you want to say. So look at number C, please. This one here, this one. And I want you to just share the information with me. What is something you understand from this? It says sick leave cost to company is estimate. Then cost is in dollars, okay? And then it says from 2000 to present. And then it's here like 200,000, and it reaches to up to all to quite a big number. Okay, 50 hours. Okay, yeah, Anis, it's 50 hours. You all understand. Okay, so Anis, can you tell me something about C? I know you joined late. You missed some part of the my first introductory session. But do you understand what does this C graph explains? You are trying, okay? Okay, who got it completely? I can give you a little bit more clues about it. It's about sick leave cost. When an employee takes a sick leave, how much money does it cost the company? Okay, when employees go on sick leave, it costs money to the company. How much it costs? It was some amount from 2000 to 2003. Then it started increasing. Okay, and in 2005, 2006, it reached to a certain number. It's like 800,000. Okay, and then it reached to its highest point. Okay, so for example, the first your information relating to the estimated cost of day which the employees have taken off as a sick leave, okay, over some period of time. Okay, so first thing, this number, the cost has risen. You should be aware of that this cost has risen most significantly from 2000 to 2003. The pattern was stable. From 2000 to 2003, it remained the same amount of money. But from 2003, it reached to approximately 200,000. Okay, but since then the figure has risen dramatically. Okay, hitting the peak of 1 million at present year. It's like it has reached to about 1 million at present, which started from like 200. Okay, and now it has reached to 1 million. So you can say the trend is upward or downward, or there is a dramatic rise, or like slightly going up, or like sudden or gradual. Whatever vocabulary comes to your mind, you can use it and you can explain. Now, still, can I ask someone who gets this whole picture, can share the information with me, whatever you understand from this graph? Yes, Mariam, go ahead. Yes, Mariam, please speak.
Well, what I understand from this graph is like this graph tells us about the cost of sick leave. Like this graph tells us about the sick leave cost which a company suffer from or company faced. Like at first, on its horizontal axis we have cost, and vertical axis we have years. At first, from start to 2003, the amount remained constant from 200,000, and then it rises gradually till the year 2005, and it reached to the level of 800,000. Then furthermore, this amount keep increasing, and by the end of year 2006, it reaches to the 1 million, you can say.
1 million, right? Okay.
Yes.
So now, what you said first, your first sentence was, what is this bar graph, this line graph about, right?
It's about the sick leave, cost of a sick leave that company suffered or company faced.
Yeah, and then you explain from what period to what period the information is given, and from cost, it restarted from what cost and it ended up to what cost. Okay, and then you can explain year by year, like in 2000, from 2002 to 2003, it was about quite stable. It was like 200,000 from all these years. But from 2003 to 2005, it like jumped to 800,000. Okay, and after that, it didn't stop growing, or the cost didn't stop increasing, and so much so that in 2006, and it was like reaching towards 1 million, and at present it has reached to 1 million people. So as a whole, the cost of the sick leave for the company has risen to great extent, and it has risen dramatically. And if you compare from 2000 to present, the number is like is a lot. In 2000 it was just 200,000, and at present it's 1 million. So this is how we can explain, and then you can say from certain years. In 2003 it was like somehow from 2000 to 2003 it stayed the same, but then it started increasing, and in 2004 it was like 600,000, and in 2005 it reached to 800,000, and at present it has reached to 1 million. So it's just like comparing and just giving information, using variety of words, using different vocab, using comparatives, something like that. Okay, Anis, can you speak out and explain it again, please? Anis, I want you to speak.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum assalam. I know I'm pushing you harder, but but I want you to. Did you get it now? After Mariam explained.
Yes, sir. I will try.
Okay.
I get it, sir, completely, inshallah. Sir,
First of all, you should tell me.
This graph,
first of all, tell me what is this graph about?
sir, this graph is about the sick leave cost of a and cost of a company. That how much the cost is rising up throughout the from 2002 at present time, like 2020
right.
or.
Yeah, that's right.
So here there are two axes. On the horizontal axis there is number of years,
Yes,
and
that's right.
vertical there are cost is given from 20,000 up to 1.2 million.
Yes, right. Thank you. Excellent. Excellent. Keep going.
So from 2000 to 2003, the cost is stable throughout this 3 years up to 20,000. After that,
right.
after that, there is a jump in 3 years, almost 2 years, up to 80,000. So after that, there is another jump up to 1 million just in 3 years are up to present time.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
this is
That's
all
right.
about it.
So now give me like as a final sentence, mean as a whole, the trend went up or it went down, or the company is paying more or less, just like concluding remarks or summarizing the whole discussion.
It is grammatically, it is the number of cost from the 2000 up to present, it is risen up. It have certain risen up in between, but
it has
overall
it has risen a lot or little or a huge amount or small difference.
Sir, it is risen up to 80% from the start.
That's great. This is a good comparison. Okay, so
Thank you,
from 2003, surprisingly, there is a big rise. There is like a dramatic rise, or what else we can say. We took some words yesterday. We can see there is a growth, or like sharp increase, or there is a dramatic or significant increase, or the amount has increased significantly, right? All right, Anis, you did very well. You explained and
Yes, sir.
you used like certain good words, rapid increase or gradual, dramatic. This is how basically we are trying to understand the first thing, what is this paragraph about, then giving one or two sentences about as a whole, general detail, and then one or two specific sentences about.
Sir, I have a question about it, sir.
Yes, yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Sir, sir, we have expand here, but I have a question. What this cost is about? So we did not get it completely in a
Okay,
company. What
see,
this cost is?
you know, when people have sick leaves, it costs people, it costs company money, you know. Like for example, if you are paid and you are 10 days off, okay, so the company is paying those 10 days because you took leave from the company, okay, and that amount of money, how much, mean you worked for 20 days but 10 days you took the leave, so they paid you for 30 days. 10 days is a kind of loss to the company. So how much money they paid for those 10 days which you did not work? And now company estimates at the end of the year, like number of employees for how many days they were not coming to work. They had like sick leave. And then they say, okay, like 500 employees were absent for 500 days according to their salary. How much money was paid just for being, for the people for being sick? So something like the cost when the people are sick, you know, or they paid as sick leave, you know, it's an
Yes, sir.
amount. For example, we go to, sometimes we don't go to work, we take sick leave, but company pays us for that day, okay? So they can, at the end of the year, they check how much money they paid to the workers when they did not work. It was like a sick leave.
Yeah, sir, I got it.
Something,
Thank you.
even you don't get anything 100%, it's fine. You are not a specialist for interpreting or explaining these paragraphs or charts. You can explain in your own way, and remember, the most important thing is you should write with proper English. You should use good content, good organization, good vocab, good grammar. Okay, even
Yes, sir.
some of your answers, some of your maybe you misunderstand, okay, but as long as your grammar is okay, your vocab is okay, your organization is okay, your content is okay, you will get good marks for that. Because sometime it's like poetry, you know, if I give you like a poem and I ask you, okay, explain, what does it mean? Maybe you explain in one way and another student explains in another way. But it's like we think differently, you think differently, I think differently. It cannot be the same thinking. But as long as your content is good, you are writing good sentences and they make sense, they are not confusing, you arrange your information in the right way, you start the introduction, you write something in the middle, you write comparisons, you write like good words, you use good vocab, and then your grammar is okay, you will get excellent marks for that. So don't worry that, oh, you are not an architect who is designing these graphs and who knows everything about, maybe, like for example, I'm very bad at drawings and stuff like that. I really put a lot of efforts to understand something like this. But it doesn't mean that this will affect me when I go for the exam. No, it's fine. Whatever information I have, again, IELTS examiner is testing your language, not your knowledge about graphs. Right, Anis? Make sense?
Yes, sir. Sir, exactly.
All
Sir,
right.
At the end, I have concluded the graph mean that the company have lost this type of the money from
Yes,
20,000
that's
up to
right.
1 million
That's
in
right.
20
That's
years
right.
are
That's right.
so.
I will read the model answer. Maybe this will give you some idea about that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Information relating to the estimated cost of days taken off sick by employees in provided in graph C, meaning the information in graph C is provided about the estimated cost of days, mean the days which the employees have taken off as being sick. Over same period, these figures have also risen, but most significantly in the last 3 years. From 2000 to 2003, the pattern was stable, with costs being approximately 200,000. But since then, the figure has risen dramatically, hitting a peak of 1 million in the present year. So from this, again, this is how I interpret it. But now when I read the answer, it makes sense. Whatever we have discussed, that's right. But even if I slightly misunderstand, but I make good comparisons, I make like good explanation, that's fine. Even I might be wrong. I might interpret in the coming pages, you will see diagrams and you explain what is the process, how it works. Maybe I explain in a different way, maybe I explain in a wrong way. So it doesn't mean that I will not get the marks for that. I have my own way of thinking. As long as my English is fine, examiner is going to give me marks for that. He cannot check my understanding about graphs or about the process. As long as, why he's taking all this? Because he wants to check your level of English, not your level of understanding about the graphs. Yes, sanity should prevail. You should have good understanding, but not like an expert person, like like someone who draws these kind of things. Maybe this is not your field. It's not my field. I'm an English teacher. This is beyond my capacity to do that 100% in the appropriate way. But as long as I explain with good English, with good explanation, with good comparisons, that's perfectly all right. Okay. Now the next thing is, we'll just also do this one. Okay. Look at this. If someone has a question, you can just raise your hand and share your question with me. Otherwise, we will continue working on this question here. Probably this will be the last, and then we will stop. Okay. Can I have a volunteer who can just read this whole thing?
So
Yes,
can
Maria? Yeah, go ahead.
look at the graph below and answer the questions? What does the graph show? B. How is the overall trend in this graph different from the others you have looked at in this unit? What tense will you use to describe it?
Okay, now go down and read the graph, please.
Okay. Graph?
Yeah, it's Harry's annual sales of hamburgers 2007.
Okay.
You must feel hungry after this. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Can you just explain a little bit what is horizontal, vertical, this axis, and what is vertical axis tell?
The vertical axis tells us about years.
Okay.
And
are you sure? Vertical is like from 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000. Is that so?
It is about sale.
Sale, okay, like 1,000, maybe 1,000 burgers, maybe 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000. Okay, and then it has.
And the horizontal axis shows us tells us about months.
Okay, yeah. Mean in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, right? So
Yes,
can
sir.
you tell me this, what is this line, something going or going up, it reached to 3,000 at point. So can you explain a little bit here?
Yes, sir. At first, there is gradual decrease in the sale or in price,
Okay,
and then
first of all, wait, please. Can you tell me how does this, what does this graph show? The question, first question is, what does the graph show?
the graph shows the change in the sale price at different months.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Harry's annual sales of hamburgers in 2000. I mean, in the year 2000, January, February, March till December. This is whole 1 year, starting from January and ending up in December. So this graph, what we understand, this graph or line, this line graph tells us Harry's annual sales of hamburgers of 2007 from January to December. Can I say that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Second one, how is the overall trend in this graph different from others you have looked at in this unit? How is it different from the one we have already studied? Is there any difference? Anyone can answer, you can answer in the chat. How is it different? Thank you. Someone is Hassan, no, Anis. Anis, thank you. Excellent. I'm happy. It says it has ups and downs. Like, can you tell me the word which we studied about ups and downs? There was a very nice word which we studied about ups and downs. Oh, fluctuation. Yes, that's right. That is called fluctuation. So it's fluctuating. Okay, but my question is, it reached a certain place here. What can I say about it? Peak, Anis, great. It's peak, yes. The peak was in month of August, it reached to all to 3,000. And then again, it started coming down. And in October, it hit what? What was the word which we use for something, the lowest point? What was that? We studied certain words which we can use for like touching the rock bottom, touching the lowest point. Yeah, it is a fall. It is a fall. But what kind of fall it is? It hit the lowest point, can I say? But in October, it hit the lowest point. Or it's the downward trend. Lowest point, downward trend, hit the lowest point, or something like that. Decreasing trend. And it ended in December between 15,000 to 20,000. Okay, so that was number 2. What tense will you use to describe it? How will you describe? It's like Harry's. It's 2007. Remember, and now we are in 2020. So, in which tense will you explain? Past. Anis. Anis is amazing. I'm happy. Mariam says past. Yes, it's past. You will explain it in the past tense. That's right. Zara says past. Yes, that's right. We look at question number 10. Question number 10. Someone who was reading with me, can you continue, please? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please continue. Number 10.
Write 4 or 5 sentences about the trends you can see in the graph of Harry's annual sales of hamburgers. Try to include the words stable, fever, rise, sales, peak, and drop.
I understand. I mean, it says write 4 or 5 sentences about the trends you can see in the graph of Harry's annual sales of hamburgers. So now our information is right, that it's about Harry's annual sale of hamburgers. Now, can you write like 1 or like 4 sentences and use stable, fewer, rise sales, peak, and drop? Can you just write, not a paragraph, just like sentences? You all can write, and then we can check together. No, thank you. Yeah, this is question number 10. We will be answering this one. Most probably after this question, and 11 we will solve. Okay, number 10. In the first 3 months, there was a stability. Okay, you can see that. And in the first 3 months, there is a stability. In the first 4 months till June, it was stable. I mean, you must explain how many burgers did this sell in January, February, March, April till December. So this is the first sentence which you have written. Okay, and then you have used the word stable. The word which you have used is stable. And the second sentence is, from March to June, there was a slight fall in sale. Yeah, that's right. Fewer hamburgers were sold. We can say fewer hamburgers were sold. Fewer hamburgers were sold in April. In April, and then in March. Okay, then another sentence which you have written, there was a dramatic rise in the sale of hamburgers between June and August. Between June and in August. Okay. When the number increased from 1900 to 3000. When the number increased from 1900 to 3000. So here we have used almost all the words which we were asked to use. Okay. We use the word stable, fewer, use the word fewer. There was a dramatic rise, and when the number increased. So here we have used like almost all the words which we were supposed to use. Stable, yeah, we have used stable. Fewer, there was a dramatic rise, yes. Sales, yes, we have used the word sale. And peak, okay, and the sale number in June and August when they increased from 19 to 3000. So this was like the peak time when they reached to. So we can say the month of August was the peak period. Period. Full stop. Okay. So we have used almost all the words here. Okay. So this is how we can explain something like this. So can someone read these sentences which we have written? Yes, Mariam.
The sale of hamburger was stable throughout January, February, and month of March. Fewer hamburgers were sold in April than in March. There was a dramatic rise in the sale of hamburgers between June and August, when the number increased from 1,900 to 3,000. The month of August was peak period.
Okay, that was the month where maximum number of burgers were sold. Okay.
Can you say that like in June to August it hit the peak?
Yes, that's an excellent comparison. That's excellent comparison. Okay, now I need another volunteer who can explain this whole thing one more time in his or her own words. What does this, what is it about? What are the overall trends? And then give some specific information. Imagine this comes in your exam and it's a speaking test, and I ask you to explain. Yes, Anis, go ahead.
Okay, sir. Sir, this is all about Harry annual sale. Harry, a name of a company of burgers, Hamburgers burgers. Okay, from this is the graph is about 2007. How much there is a sale throughout that year. So the year was divided into completely 12 months. So
That's
here
right.
from January the sale is started, and throughout that month the sale is constant. In February, March up to April is slightly down, and then in May it is remain constant. After May there is a slightly upward, the curve is goes up in up to June. So after June, the horizon, the graph is goes up to peak, up to 3,000 of burgers sell in their 2 months, after
Good,
July
very
and
good.
August. And the August they peak, they touch the peak value of sale of the burgers, 3,000. After August,
What Anis, you can say the maximum number of burgers were sold in August.
yeah, sir.
Okay.
In August, there is a maximum number of burgers sold out. After that month, from August to
Anis, can I ask you a question? What can be the reason?
maybe, sir, there is a season for that. Maybe there's a students were visiting that area, or
Okay.
maybe
All right.
something like in for enjoyment, people is going. In August, in Pakistan, there is a 14 August. Maybe that day,
Yeah,
the burger.
might be Independence Day for them. Or
Yeah,
maybe
maybe.
this data is collected from your country where you have Independence
Yeah.
Day in August. So maybe that's why maximum number of
Yes,
burgers were
sir.
sold. That's
Yes, sir.
great. That's great. Okay.
Okay. Sorry for the background noise, sir.
I
There is a background noise.
love it. I love that. I love nature. I wish I can be close to nature. You know, I was born in a village and I was brought up in a village where we used to climb trees. You know, we have guava trees, and you know, we have such kind of trees where we run around and we take shower in the rain. But now the place where I live, it's like a year I never see rain. So you are lucky to have such background. I wish one day I can join you and see these noises and voices, and it's amazing. Even my younger daughter, she loves to be in nature. with birds, with animals, with plants, you know. So
Yeah,
this
sir.
is great.
Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir. That's why I know, sir.
Okay,
So
keep
after
going.
in August, there's a peak value of the burgers sold out. After that, there is a fall. The fall is started
Hmm.
from August to September is a slightly down, but from
Hmm.
September to October, completely down. It's what I can use from here.
Hmm.
Uh,
Okay, yeah, continue,
so
please. Yeah.
in October, from October to November and then December, this is there is a small change, but
Hmm.
the burger throughout where it is started and the end of the year, it goes up to on that way number.
Yeah, but
It means
Anis, you notice another thing. The Harry's annual burger sale is never stable. It started from one point, then it is increasing, it is falling, it is going up, it is going down, it is touching the peak, then it falls down. Then
yes, sir.
October is the
Sir,
month which is like it hits the lowest point, and then again it starts increasing.
sir, it is a. I think this is a business, and there's a fluctuation in business. Up downs is comes in here in the graph.
Hmm.
We can see it clearly.
Understand. So what do you think now in after December again is going to January? What do
Uh,
you predict?
I think this is the whole year, just like when we start a business and we have need financial plan for the years. So 1 year we need.
So do you
In
think
that
his
sense,
business? Do you think his business will like increase, or business will like get momentum when the new year starts?
sir, he have no a lot of loss here. He have always in a good because there is always from 2000 to 3000. Then it comes to say 800, but there is no month in which there is no sale. So it is the business is in positive, sir.
Okay, so we wish Harry good luck for his hamburger sales. I feel slightly hungry. I don't know about you.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so this is
Thank you.
how the next question, which we will be working on it in our next sitting. Yeah, this is another trend, and in this one of the student has written an answer. We will be checking how is the answer. Is it good? Is it a good answer or not a good answer? Mean whenever how you we explain how we have studied and how he has written in our next session. We will be working on this kind of thing, but now at least you have an idea that how you approach this task. If you have this kind of task, that first thing, can anybody explain now what are the few things we have studied, how to approach this task? If you have like a question like a bar graph or line graph, how will you approach? What are the things which you will do first, then second, then third, and then you keep going?
Should I
Yes,
try to
yeah.
tell?
Yes, Mariam, go ahead.
What I understand from this, like, there are few things whenever we are reading a graph, a bar graph, or a line graph, we should keep in our notice. Like at first, look at what the graph is about. Like it's about sale, or it's about any trend, or anything like that. Then after this, notice the rises and falls in the group, and then gradually with the years or with the months, whatever the thing is mentioned. So go to the rises and falls, then the peak values, and then if there's a gradual or sudden fall, we can notice that. And there, if it's something like constant, we can mention that. So I think so. This is a way.
And at the end, just you summarize the whole thing again,
Yeah. So what
right?
was it like a whole year? It was a gradual decrease, or it was constant, or it was like fluctuating. At the end, we should summarize that.
Yeah, I mean, like if you are good at maths, even you can now tell what was Harry's average sale for the year. I mean,
Yes.
how many burgers did he sell every month? Because in 1 month he sells 2,000, but at the same time in 1 month he sold like 1,000, maybe 200. But then he sells like 1,600, 700. 1 month he sells 3,000. What can be the average? If you are good at maths and you can give like some kind of averages, comparisons, you know, decreasing, falling, but at the end you give like an overall view about whatever you are discussing. And again, as I have already told all of you, we are not an expert in interpreting this kind of information. We are students, right? But the thing is, as long as I'm writing with good English, with good content, with good organization, I arrange my information in a sequence, in a logical way, right? And it's not like some people, what some students do, they memorize something at home, and whatever bar graph comes, whatever line graph comes, they write all the information which they memorized yesterday at home. That will not give you the marks. If you have like a slightly different interpretation, that's fine. But the most important thing is your content is all right, your organization, your vocab, and your grammar. You know, it makes sense. You will get the marks for that. Okay. So with this, we stop in this lesson, and we will be we'll continue working on it. And I think tomorrow we will take our vocabulary lesson, which we took before. This will improve our when we reach to writing the second part and speaking and reading. So we will continue working on our vocabulary from tomorrow. Thank you so much for you, all of you, for joining me. And I look forward to see you tomorrow for our new session. And I wish you all the best.